Hey everyone, thanks for coming back for another week where I talk about my favorite movies. This week I'm talking about Prisoners, and this is going to be a fun one because I think I wrote a paper about this back in college. I definitely wrote a paper on a couple of these movies that I've talked about, that I'll talk about this season. Yeah, Prisoners. All right. Prisoners is one of those where like some days it's in my top 5, some days it's in my top 3, sometimes it's my number 1 favorite movie. And that's because Prisoners is, where do I start? All right. So Prisoners is a highly underrated, fantastic mystery thriller film. It's my favorite in that like blended genre. I like a lot of cop and crime thrillers. Those are like my favorite types. This is my favorite of the detective thriller where it's solely like you're trying to figure out what happened. You're trying to figure out, the case of like the who did it, who's behind it. It deals with I like cases that are like missing persons. The show Without a Trace is a big favorite of mine. I love those kind of like shows and movies where like you're trying to figure out what happened to somebody, because it could be a million different reasons why they disappeared. They could have been killed, it could have been an accident, maybe they were kidnapped or something like that, who knows. But in this particular movie it deals with the kidnapping, and it sort of served as part of the inspiration for my senior film project that I did in college. And so basically it's about this family that they're meeting with their friends over Thanksgiving, and their 2 daughters are like downstairs playing around. They go outside to play at some point, and then they go missing. And it's about the father actually trying to find his daughter and her friend, and the journey he takes to try and find them, and the detective that is in charge of it. It's directed by Denis Villeneuve, and it's very well acted. Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal plays the detective. Hugh Jackman plays the father, and they go head to head a little bit in the story while they're both doing their own version of investigating and trying to find out who's responsible for the girl's disappearance. And they're both very interesting characters, both very interesting portrayals that are out of the 2 actors' normal scope and the kind of characters that they normally play. They do a very good job of playing those characters. I think it's one of my favorite Jake Gyllenhaal performances. It is a character that I absolutely love. I love the Detective Loki character. Not just from how he looks and how he acts and how he talks, but just the development of him trying to figure out this whole thing. He doesn't arc a whole lot in the story, so he's a bit of a flat character in that regard, but he does go through some some physical stuff throughout the film. But I just like how well that character is written, and it's interesting, and it feels like a Robert Pattinson novel, or like a detective novel kind of thing, where it just has that feel to it, and that performance and that character has that vibe to it that is really fun to watch. The first time I watched it, I was actually with a friend of mine, and we got it. We had a long day. I forget what we were doing, but it was just a really long day. We were super tired. We rented it, it was after dinner, and we're starting it at 9 o'clock at night, and we're both tired. We're like, there's no way we're going to stay up through this movie, man. But we sat there, and it was me, him, and his brother, and we were like locked in after the first 15 minutes. You know, it's a long movie. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it is a slow burner. Like, not a lot of stuff, not a lot of like obvious actiony stuff happens, but a lot, the way the story unfolds, it's so interesting and intricate, and the intensity is very well built from start to finish. You know, by the time you get to the last like 5 minutes of the film, you're just holding on to whatever seat you're in or whoever's sitting next to you, and your eyes are locked in and you can't look away because you don't know what's going to happen. And I give credit to the writers for that. Aaron Gazowski wrote the script. It felt like a book or something like that, but it wasn't. It was just this original idea that he had. And the director and the cinematographer, Roger Deakins, did a great job. And the editor and everyone just did a great job of taking this story and having it unfold in such a intense, suspenseful, beautiful way that is just absolutely phenomenal. You know, it's a very underrated film. I think it was nominated for a couple Oscars. I don't think it won anything. Oscars are relative anyway, but man, I talk about this movie quite a bit to my friends and family. Super great movie. All-star cast, all very well acted. Can't recommend it enough. Definitely check it out. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Prisoners, see it if you haven't seen it. I don't think it's any streaming services, but I wholly recommend just buying it outright, especially if you love detective thrillers and slow burning type movies, mysteries, that kind of stuff. This is right up there, you know, in that list of films. Very good, highly underrated. Definitely check it out. Thanks again for joining me this week. You know, and if you've been watching these videos since the beginning of the last couple weeks, I really appreciate it. Share it, like I say every week. If you enjoyed this or you enjoyed the movie and you've seen it before, leave some comments as always. I'd be happy to answer questions or chit chat with you guys more about it. And yeah, thank you so much. Stay safe out there. We'll see you next week, and take it easy, everybody.